It is awful.
It's terrible. I would, with all these problems I had, I did have one piece of thing that kept me together. March 17th, 1992, I got on stage coked up. I never got on stage coked up ever again.
Why do you remember the date?
Because I bombed that bad.
Oh,
it was two different. I thought that, wait a second, if I do 2 lines, I'm going to get chatty. And I'm going to go up there and just chit-chat. I'm going to be fucking great. Nobody's figured this out yet. Richard Pryor figured it out, Sam Kennison got it, and now I got it. And I went on stage because the cocaine cuts your heart from your material. It cuts it. That's why you can't be funny. Yeah, you'll get away with some jokes. There's some jerk-offs that they'll laugh. But you don't sell the joke. The joke isn't being sold. It's just like reading a book. So he went out and he, whatever. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
I could tell if I did too much coke the night before, it would affect my stand-up. Even if I didn't do coke the whole day, it would affect my stand-up. I couldn't control my mind.
Was it like a hangover?
Yeah, it was like a hangover, but it was like a mental. You can't, your heart and your mind aren't connecting. Your mouth and your heart and your soul are not connecting. It's very weird to explain.
See, in addition to affecting your physically, I mean your emotions, it affects your body. It's like it affects the blood flow to your ears. So you start to hear more bass than treble. And if you're on stage and somebody's doing blow, they're going to start turning around and saying that you're playing way too loud, where you're just playing at the same volume as you always play, right? And there's certain records that if you go back in the 70s and you listen to them and the bottom is gone, it means that they spend the night mixing those records, and to overcompensate, they lower the bass, the bottom end of the record, so it sounds like sizzling, like a lot of highs. They were on blow when they were mixing that, and a lot of records were mixed like that back in the 70s because you had a deadline. You have to you spend so much time recording it, and the record company says, listen, we're coming back tomorrow to pick up the record, the mix record, and then they'll take it and master it and then release it. So a lot of these guys were under the gun. Because if you're going to do a mix a night, it's going to take you 2 weeks to do it. And sometimes you just didn't have 2 weeks. You would have maybe 1 week. So you're trying to compensate by just staying up long enough to do 2 mixes a day.
Like those, I just read on YouTube about a month ago, they had a campaign about Volume 4, the album, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And what the whole part of it was that the first 4 Black Sabbath albums, I guess, were recorded in one night. Mm-hmm. Like the first one night, the second one night. I don't know how true it is, whatever they were saying. How does that happen? How do you fucking go into a I mean, I always wanted to be a musician.
Easy.
Because don't you have to, all right, so let's say Snowblind. All right, Rudy, we're doing Snowblind.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. First of all, we don't even do it together.
Yeah.
You lay the bass first.
Oh, no.
How do you do it?
Not like that. Back in the day, a lot of the bands would go on the road and they would do all of these, they played everywhere. Back in the day, you start your tour like in Stockholm or somewhere in Scandinavia, and you do like a Scandinavian tour, which means that you're testing your material to go in the studio in a couple of weeks, right? So you do all these tours to get the band tight and get paid for it. That was like pre-production. And then you go in the studio, and then you do like 1 or 2 takes of each song, and you're done. You're done. Like in the days when people used to record in the same room with a really good engineer that knew how to mic everything, and that's the way it used to be done.
No, lay your track.
No.
Lay your bass line. And
no.
So, like I read the one Aerosmith book, the one from '98, when they talked about how much they hated each other, and in '75. So Joe Perry would go down and do the guitar. Like they had a sign-in sheet. They all lived in the same house, but they had a sign-in sheet to go into the recording studio one at a time. They wouldn't get along. So everybody, the drummer went. So did you play the song first and everybody left, and then you redid your bass lines and he did his guitar? Was that how it was done? Because I'm fucking confused here. I'm blown away.
Yeah, listen, all the, like if you read about the Beatles, they, the first record they did with George Martin, they actually did that in one day. They did, so it was like what, 14 songs, 15 songs, because in America we would get 10 songs per album, but in the UK release it was actually the full record, the 15 songs or whatever they happened to record, you know. And I think that what happened was in America, engineers and producers they either started getting picky or lazy. Because the guys back in Europe, you know, in England, all those English engineers and producers, they had it down. They knew. I mean, I worked with some of those guys, and they don't look, it got so bad that you had to spend one day just to get a snare sound back in the 70s. If you were going into to make a record, it was a given that the first day was just drums, and you would spend most of the day just getting a stupid snare sound. Come on, you know, just put, if you know what you're doing, you just put maybe 3 mics. The best setups I've ever played with, just 3 mics, one on the kick, one on the snare, one overhead, and that's it. Most of the classic rock records we listen to, that's the way that they were recorded, and then either direct or both. You know, you amp you put a mic on the bass amp and direct, and then you know, you get isolation rooms. You know, all the studios were designed like that, so you isolate your amplifiers. Or in the case of like where the Stones used to record, you know, they did Exile on Main Street in a house that Keith Richards rented in the south of France. You know, and they took the basement and they just, you know, make baffles to separate the amplifiers, and that's how they did it, you know. And those are classic albums. They have a vibe. They have soul to it. You know, we were talking about the soul in your material when you're delivering it. That's what's missing when you start separating people. And, you know, one guy, I do a lot of records nowadays in my pajamas at home with my little dog watching me, because they send me the tracks. Are they going to be timeless records? No. To me, a timeless record, everybody has to be in the same room to record that.
Is it like a feeling? Is it like kind of like the room has like when like the band's playing together? Is it
right now we're experiencing it. Okay, you and I, we did a podcast. It's way different this one because I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. We're communicating in the same room. You know, it's not like me at home with my telephone, you know, my cell phone, talking to you, calling in. Okay, yeah, it was good, but it doesn't have that intimacy that we're having now.
You know, it's amazing. We were talking about a band, how you have so many different personalities to deal with, and you were saying how lucky I was because when you do comedy, it's just you and the microphone. You just got to show up at a bar, plug it in, and fuck it, you go crazy.
Yeah.